All right, here with Terry Gilliam, founder of the Life After California and the Leaving California Facebook groups, with a combined about 235,000 members as of today. Terry, if you can just tell us when you started these groups and why, what the motivation was.
I moved to California in 1986 from Texas. I was pursuing a dream of living the California life, which in the 80s was great. But as I stayed in California for many years, I started to see life deteriorate, whether it's the cost of living, whether it was the politics, whether it was just the quality of life just kept going downhill for me. So in 2018, this is before the pandemic, September 2018, I knew I wasn't the only person who was really not happy with the way California was going and saw no hopes that it would change. So I started a group called Leaving California to help, commiserate with other people who maybe wanted to figure out where else in the country they could go to live a better life.
And it took off. What were your expectations there early on? What did you think the group would do, and where is it today?
It took about 6 months just to get to 200 members, but every day I would feed it with more information. At this point, businesses were leaving California very quickly, and you could always do Google alerts and find out which businesses were leaving, articles about people who had left and how their life was different after they left California for the better. And my goal was always maybe so I can get to 1,000 people. But as things progressed, it really started to take off. And of course, then the pandemic hit and all the shutdowns and all of the mandates and all the businesses that started going out of business and people lost their employment. All of that really just kept growing and growing and growing. And I really think that was the breaking point for a lot of people. And that's why the groups now have doubled in size. We'll be at 250,000 here by the end of July, growing between 500 to 1,000 people a day.
Tell us about life after California, your own experience, and kind of what the experience of some of the other members has been like.
So I started a second group called Life After California in January of 2020. This is right before the pandemic, because I wanted to see what life was like for people who had left. It was kind of a natural progression. The Leaving California group became a group where people had said, yeah, I've moved to Tennessee, I've moved to Texas, I've moved to Idaho, and how much better their life is. So what that allowed Life After California allowed people to do who are still in California is to ask questions of people who had left. Because let's face it, California's got the best weather on the planet, at least the best weather I've ever experienced in the world. And let's face it, if you move east of the Rockies, there's a likelihood it can rain any day of the year. There's a likelihood you're going to have bugs and snakes. And here in Florida, we have alligators, although I haven't seen one yet in over a year, but I know they're out there. There's no doubt. So that people want to try and eliminate as much of the unknown as they can so that when they do move, they know what to expect. I get people all the time who join, literally thousands of them this year, who say, I have to leave California. I just don't know where to go. So the Life After California group helps them see from people all over the country and some places in other parts of the world what their life has been like since leaving.
Two things. I mean, do you have advice for people who are on the fence about making that move? I mean, I know they have that community in that Facebook group, the Life After California group. Is there an advice you'd give to someone who's, maybe they've lived there their whole life, and this is obviously a big life decision. So, any advice for someone on the fence?
Well, I would certainly do a Ben Franklin where you put the pros and cons on the same piece of paper. I don't know many people who've left who regret it. Now, certainly everyone's going to miss family if you're leaving family. They're going to miss the weather if they have that. California is one of the most naturally beautiful places in the world, really. The fact that you can be in Lake Tahoe in the afternoon and the ocean in the evening, you're not going to get that. But you know what? Gas today here in early July is $4.25 a gallon in Florida. I was in Arkansas last week for the 4th of July. I saw gas at $3.95. The cost of housing is literally half, if not less than that. My level of stress has gone down so dramatically. And by the way, here in the Orlando area where I live, you know what they have? They have rush hour, maybe rush 2 hours. It's not from 4 a.m. until 10 a.m. is going in one direction with a billion people. And then from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. in the other direction. If you don't need to be on the freeway in rush hour, you can pretty much drive anywhere you want to without the traffic. For the people on the fence, certainly I would go visit the place you're thinking about going. I've got a realtors all over the country I refer people to. They can connect with them and get more information about the area. So you certainly want to do your homework ahead of time. You don't want to just sell your house or whatever and not have a job and move somewhere else necessarily, although I'm sure some people do that. But it's certainly worth investigating, looking at other parts of the country to find the quality of life that you're really looking for.
Do you see this group as a California critical group, or more as that like life advice, high utility kind of group?
In the Leaving California group, I allow a little more California bashing because in that group, which is the one I started first, some people need to convince family members, spouses, whomever, that this is the reason. Life after California, there's really no reason to bash California, although it certainly happens, especially as people leave by the tens of thousands, live a whole lot higher quality of life. And it's hard not to bash the place you came from because so many people say, I wish I had left earlier. It is amazing how many people say, I wish I had left earlier because my quality of life is significantly better. There's 1,000 things that you see once you've left that you didn't realize were happening when you were in California. And how's that saying go? I didn't realize I had a headache until I stopped hitting myself in the head with a hammer. And that's really what it's like after you've left California.